The HISD Family and Community Engagement Department presents Parent Organization Fundraising 101. I'm your presenter, Marissa Rodriguez. I am a Family and Community Engagement Specialist, FACE for short, and I am part of a much larger team of people who are working really hard behind the scenes to help every single one of our HISD campuses to have better student outcomes because their families have the support that they need. You've probably seen us on your campus already, giving support to parents through workshops. We're providing resources to your parent organization, and we are connecting your school's engagement team to resources and community support. We are also listening to your feedback through POSUP surveys, walkthrough focus groups that we do for each and every campus, and in our conversations, we are utilizing your feedback to best meet our students' and families' needs. Some of the feedback that we heard came from many of you who might be listening to this webinar now. At our first ever HISD Parent Organization Expo, we sent out a survey asking for feedback. And what we took away from your responses is that you want more support, more resources, and more opportunities for collaboration. And we are responding. This webinar will be the first of many that will be coming to you once a month. Coming soon, there will also be a podcast, and at any point when you need more encouragement or support, you can reach out to your campus's FACE specialist. If you haven't met your specialist yet, you can scan this QR code for their contact information. All right, getting started here. For today's agenda, we're going to take the next few minutes to give you some tips and tricks that can help you gain the courage needed to fundraise, and 5 ways to give your funds a boost without spending a lot of money. We also want to make sure that you have a place to share your ideas, successes, and also give us feedback on where you would like some more support. So let's get started. Now, in fundraising, we talk a lot about ways to fundraise, but we often don't talk about the courage that it takes to actually ask people for money. We can have great ideas, but when we need to make connections and forge new relationships, it can feel a little intimidating or overwhelming for some of us. I remember when I had first joined the PTO at my kids' school, I was on the sponsorship committee, and I was asked to go to businesses to see if they would sponsor us. Now, I've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for projects in my lifetime. This should have been easy for me, but it was not. Life was really stressful for my family during that time, and having to muster up the courage for one more thing in my life and to figure out who I needed to talk to and how to get the money seemed really overwhelming to me. And as I've talked with parents all over the district who are working through the highs and lows of their fundraising efforts, I've realized that I am not alone in this. So, what I did is I asked some seasoned fundraisers what they do to keep their courage up. And the most common trend that I heard was that they stay focused on their why. And here's what they mean by that. If you ask yourself why you are willing to do the work necessary to raise funds for, let's say, that playscape or a program that you want to fund, or beautifying your campus, or a field trip that you want the kids to go on, what would your reason be? Maybe it's because you experienced something at school when you were younger and it really impacted you, and you want your child to have a similar experience. Or maybe you didn't have that experience, but you really want it for your kid. The reasons for why you show up every day for your child by raising funds for their school are endless. So, when you find yourself feeling a little anxious about asking for money, it can be really helpful to direct your focus to what you value most and find your motivation in your why. For one mom that I spoke with who was raising funds so that her very creative first grader could have an art teacher, she had to envision her daughter having this outlet and how it would benefit her long term. And that is how she ended up gaining the courage that she needed to approach businesses for their support. And there's some other tricks that I think are worth mentioning. It's important to find your people. This is not all on you. So if you are shy, that's totally okay. Find someone who isn't and work together. Even bring them along with you to these businesses that you're wanting to approach. It's also important to make your network bigger. Enlisting teacher and classroom support can spread the word a whole lot easier than you trying to do it on your own. Remember, teachers will directly benefit from what you are doing and are often great partners to work with. Another thing that is helpful is to think about the psychology behind giving. There's research that says that it takes someone seeing or hearing things 5 times before they take action. So if you've asked once with little return, no worries. This is expected behavior. Ask 4 more times and then we can see what your return on investment will be. What you need to hear is that you can do this. Now that you have some ways to keep yourself inspired, let's get into the 5 different ways that we're going to be presenting on how you can boost your funds. For these tips, you don't need much money, just some elbow grease or some good hard work, and that will be enough to get you started. Just a quick disclaimer here, we do not endorse any specific vendors, but we do want to give you some good ideas of what is out there. So all of the information in this presentation is for educational purposes only. All right, number 1, spirit nights. Hosting a spirit night is a great way to create an opportunity to connect the families in your school, which can also raise school spirit and help create lasting relationships while also raising much needed funds. These nights can also be a great time to recruit more volunteers or members for your organization. And by partnering with local businesses, you are also expanding your network of potential donors and sponsors. Now, most businesses will donate anywhere from around 10 to 20% of the profit that they make off of your families. To connect with these businesses, you just need to think of where your parents would actually go eat or play. So you walk in and you ask them if they would be willing to do a spirit night with you. Let's say they say yes. What typically happens from there is that they would give you a code for your parents to use when ordering, or just tell you to mention your child's the name of their school. You would agree upon a percentage of the sales that you will receive, and I would also suggest finding out when you will receive the funds. Is it in a week or is it in a month or so? Once you agree to the terms, now it's time to promote, and so you can get ready to collect those funds. So let's do some simple math to see what your profit margin might look like. We're going to use Mod Pizza, for example. An average meal is $12 per person. If you get 20 people in, that's $240 in sales, and you would get $48. So let's consider that the average family of 4 will spend about $48, which gives you around $10 per family. If 30 families come, you just earned $300. Now, where should you do these? We've pulled some ideas from some of our parent organizations who are doing this type of fundraiser. And on the right hand side of the slide, you can see some locations where spirit nights are currently happening. And don't forget about your local restaurants. Many of them like to support their communities by doing spirit nights for you. Number 2, product sales. Product sales are an easy way to raise money quickly, and they work great for parent organizations with low parental involvement. With these types of fundraisers, you will likely work with a sales representative that will be there the whole time to help guide and support you through the entire process. In order to get started, you would find a fundraising company that you feel would be a good fit for your families, and the company's representative would give you the specifics of what needs to be done to sell their product. Profits typically range anywhere from around 30 to 55% with little to no risk. So let's say that you feel like your campus would be able to successfully sell popcorn. We can project out to see what your earnings might look like. So popcorn sales can earn your organization up to around 63% profit. The company sells popcorn for $1.10 per bag, and the average sales price that you would sell it for is $3. If your organization sells 1,000 popcorn bags, that would be $1,900 going towards your school. For a catalog fundraiser, you can earn between 40 to 50% profit. And chocolate sales can also bring in bigger funds. So, one of my schools just finished up their sale and made a profit of around $15,000. And this is actually a smaller school. Now, this is just one example. The profits definitely range, especially depending on how many students you have selling for you. When you do these types of sales, it can be beneficial to include incentives for your students who sell the most product. So, for example, elementary schools normally choose to provide incentives to students like popsicles for the winning class or something like that, since that tends to motivate students to sell. But let's say a PTO or a PTA at a middle school or high school is selling to sponsor a specific event. They may choose to keep the earnings and make the trip itself be the incentive. All in all, product sales are a great way to make bigger amounts of cash for your projects. Number three, spirit stores. Spirit stores give your school community a place to purchase branded school items and other products. I was actually just at a school yesterday who sold T-shirts with the school logo, and they had different wordings on each shirt, like from the school values, like "I am a risk taker," "I am kind," "I am creative." They were adorable. I talked with one parent who said her daughter bought one of each shirt because they loved them so much, and since the principal allowed them to wear the T-shirts in addition to the uniforms, it was a no-brainer for her to buy these up. So, some other common items sold at school stores are trinkets or school supplies that can be purchased by students. In one of my Title I schools, the PTO makes around $3,000 from selling fidgets and small toys that they purchase from Oriental Trading. They also sell school branded water bottles, keychains, silly bands, and when they have the funds to pre purchase school uniforms, they will also brand those. This particular school is in a very old building, and their store is actually located in a closet in the hallway. So if you are wanting to put one of these in your schools and there's not room, just work with your principal and see if there's any corner of that building that you can utilize. So, how are these run? Volunteers, PTO or parent organization volunteers typically run these stores. And for example, at the school I was just mentioning, they are open on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. In the morning before school starts, and you will see a very long line of excited kids that are waiting to purchase something in that store. It's a good way for this school community to bring in regular funds throughout the year. And something else that I find very unique about school stores is that when you look around the school and you see kids and teachers wearing and using branded items, it can really unite everyone and make the school feel like a strong community. Number four, penny wars. Penny wars or coin drives can net some substantial cash quickly, and it can build school spirit and promote friendly competition, which is super fun. The basic premise that is that students bring spare change to school for a set period of time, usually a week or two, and that they would deposit their coins into some type of container. When the competition is over, the class that has the greatest amount is rewarded. And there are lots of ways to run a penny war fundraiser that you can choose from. So for some campuses, they see which class can raise the most money. For others, they may invite students into a more competitive way to play where they can sabotage other classes. With this option, each penny is worth 1 point and counts positively towards the class's total amount. And then each silver coin or dollar bill gets points based on its value. So a nickel is worth 5 points, a dime is worth 10 points, and so on, but these count negatively toward the class's total. So In a competition between classrooms, students who want their class to win will place pennies in their own buckets and place nickels, dimes, and quarters or dollar bills into other classrooms' buckets to sabotage their earnings. Now, how you keep the competition going strong, this is where your creativity comes in. The location of where you place the containers is important. Where in your school will your students see the containers regularly? That would be the best location to use. Also, letting the kids know that their daily or weekly amount is can also be helpful. Some schools will have volunteers take a daily count and announce it in the afternoon announcements, or just use some type of visual tracker like you see in the pictures. Incentives for the winning classes. These get kids excited. Some that I've heard recently are free dress on the last day of school, extra recess, popsicles for the whole class, or something that gets kids laughing, like seeing your principal get hit in the face with a pie. That's super fun. Penny Wars just do a great job at improving school spirit. Number 5, celebration opportunities. The great thing about taking advantage of this type of fundraising is that there's very minimal cost involved. You can utilize the resources that you have, like your school's marquee, a loudspeaker, staff members who are willing to help out, or just paper to create unique funding opportunities. To the right of the slide, you'll see an example of how one of our schools promotes birthday announcements that can be seen on the marquee or spoken over the loudspeaker during announcements. Other great ideas that have come in from our parents have also enriched the campuses. One school, this is so unique, one school offered a fundraiser where parents purchased a book for the school library for a set price that included some profit for the school. The book had their child's name printed on the inside cover, and the students whose parents purchased the book were delighted to be the first ones to check it out of the library. And so this school ended up with a whole bunch of new awesome books, and they were also able to raise a good amount of funds for a project. Another option is to offer for students to purchase birthday or holiday grams. One of my schools promotes Grateful Grams in November to help celebrate Thanksgiving. On cardstock, they print out 12 grams to a page that simply say, "I'm grateful for you because," with blank space for students to fill out what they're grateful for. And then each page costs $5. After the student fills out each gram and who they would like to send it to, they turn it into their teacher, who then gives it to the PTO volunteers, who sort and do a fund delivery to the students. And fundraisers like this can keep a consistent flow of income coming into your bank account throughout the year. All right, we've just covered 5 ways to boost your funds. And now I'm wondering, what do you have to contribute to this conversation? We are interested to hear about what vendors you're using and who you would recommend so that we can share that with our community. To get more ideas, this code will take you to to PTO Today's website, where you can receive more information on the topics that we've discussed today. So if you could just take a minute and scan these QR codes so that you can be involved in this conversation. It takes courage to raise money for projects that make life better for your school community and your student. Thank you so much for everything that you are doing to bring what you value most to your campus. As I mentioned earlier, our podcast will be coming out soon, where you will have the opportunity to hear from experts and seasoned parent organization representatives, and there will be more webinars like this coming to you throughout the year. Until next time, we wish you the best in your fundraising efforts. You've got this.